too long. We are the children of Israel. We are Bani Israel.
That's right.
We are the biblical Israelites.
Well, so we can come out of this captivity and start worshipping God as we're intended to.
Talk to us for a second, bro.
Yeah, wow, yeah, I want to talk to you.
You want to talk to us?
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on, talk to us, man. You want to talk to us?
Right.
Let me ask you a question, right? You know your nationality, right? What would you say it is?
African, Eritrean.
Eritrean.
I was born there.
He was born there
I come in 1977.
in 1977. So I mean, what we're out here to do, right? We're out here to wake up the 12 tribes of Israel, or wherever they are scattered abroad.
Yeah.
Right. So we know that our people were scattered to the four corners of the earth, right? But nobody's really talking about it. Do you know what I mean?
We made up the activists in the last couple of years.
Okay.
I've been critical, being a woman brother, I've been critical for contributing. Police officers, firemen, and obviously even compliance. So all the information there, that's the UN website, and a lot of our brothers and sisters, they're probably not following people in black people in colour, and they send people crazy into India using all these technologies. So obviously this information, so you're saying all it is called targeting. They're going around targeting, and then they use the community members. They use a German Stasi secret police program called the secret police, the Germans, the Stasi.
Okay.
That's where they come from. And the UK government, through councils, have implemented into the system, and they're targeting their people, and they've got the technology to look straight at that building and see everyone who's inside there. And if they want you, they just play games with you, no one else. It's material.
Well, we know about all of that. We know that what it is right. What they're trying to do, they're trying to create one world government, one world order, all that stuff, right? But the main reason why they're doing that, right, is to come against the Most High, right? To come against the Most High's people as well. The Most High chose a nation and a people, right? Who the children of Israel are, right? And in order for the world to know peace, right, they need to be keeping the commandments of the Most High, because they need to be teaching the nation, right, how to keep it, right? And if our people don't wake up, right, these nations are allowed to do whatever they want to do, right? Because of the order, and this is why they're manipulating it, right? So that we don't know, right? We don't know who we are, right? And we need our people, right, to wake up, right? That's what we're out here to do, right? So even you, right, as a person, right, even if you're not an Israelite, right, should in yourself, if you want the world to go right, should be telling people, right, that they're Israelites, right? And the reason, how we know, right, that we are Israelites, right, is through the book, right, the scriptures, right, that people have in the churches, right, which they call the Holy Bible now, right? But it's a compilation of books, right? So you got what you call the Torah, right, which is the first 5 books, which is the 5 books, what they call the 5 books of Moses, right? Then you got the prophets, right, and then you got the New Testament, right? So all of that, right, was never a religious book, right? That was taken, right, and made a religious book, right? So do you believe in the Bible at all, or no?
I used to, my mother's saying that I'm Christian.
Orthodox Christian, right? So with the book, right, it was never a religion, right? It was a culture, right? Because in there it has instructions that the children of Israel were meant to keep, right? And the Most High said to them, if you keep my commandments, right, I'm going to bring all these blessings upon you, right? But if you don't, right, I'm going to bring these curses upon you. So how we know, right, who we are, right, is through the curses, because then we can find our people, right, wherever they are. So that's what we're out here to do, right, to wake up our people, right? So if you get me, just get me Deuteronomy 28, right? Because we're gonna show you how we know who we are, right? Because it's important for us to look at signs, right, to know who certain people are, or who certain nations are, right? Because that's why the Most High has allowed us to keep enough of this, right? Because a lot of stuff was burnt, a lot of stuff was taken, right? Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah, and change and stuff, right? But there's enough in here.
The book of
with Esther. And,
Gone out.
Yeah.
The Gentiles did.
Yeah. They took out what they call the apocrypha from it. Because even when this was first instated or first translated into English by King James in the 1611 version, there was more books in there, right? And they took those out, right? Because they wanted to take out a piece of history. They wanted to take out a piece of history.
But that's the reason I'm watching a lot. I don't watch TV.
Yeah, because when you know the timeline of the children of Israel, right? When they went into captivity, right? They went into captivity in different kingdoms, right? So you know how kingdoms rise, fall, right? So first you had Babylon, right? Then you had the Persian Empire, right? Then you had the Grecian Empire, then you had the Roman Empire, and when you look into history, all these empires existed. So you know that falls in line with history, right? But they took it out. Yeah, the Egyptians were before that, before Israel became a nation, right? Israel became a nation during their time in Egypt, and then they came out, and then they went into their land, right? So they were in captivity there as well, yeah. But they came out from there, and then when the major captivity started to take place was in that point, right? So from Babylon all the way up until now, right? So have you got the scripture right? So read verse 15 and verse 28.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and read verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right? So he said to us, well, if you don't keep these commandments, right, that I'm giving to you, right, all of these curses are going to overtake you and pursue you. Right? So go to verse 45, right? Because the Most High makes it clear that these are for signs, right? All the things that happen to the children of Israel, whatever they are for signs, right? So read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed,
right?
Because thou hearkenest not to the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments.
Right, so wherever we go, right? It's gonna follow us wherever we go and say until you see
to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee,
right?
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
For a sign and for a wonder, so that in these times, right, we'd be able to look out, right, and see who our people are, right? And then we look out and we say, well, all these curses are happening, right? So there's loads of curses in there. Right, and then if you read them, right, you know who the people are, right, and you see wherever they are in the nations, right, who those people are, because wherever you find, because we're called by different names now. So I could say I'm Jamaican, people say Puerto Rican, I think it's something like Nigerian, different places, Cuba, Ghanaian, all these different things, right? But we've been scattered amongst all the nations, so even then, some of them are going to look like other nations as well, right? But the way you're going to know is by the Spirit, because he's going to tell you how you know who the people are, right? So read on.
And upon thy seed forever.
Right, and upon thy seed forever. So the children that came from the children of Israel, right, it's going to follow their seed. So generation after generation, because the curses are generational curses. That's where that term comes from, generational curses, right? So read on.
Upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
Right, so because we didn't follow the Most High with joyfulness and gladness for everything, right? So because we didn't go to the Most High for everything, because instead of doing that, what happened is that the Most High allowed us, because we went in amongst the nations and took on their customs and their ideologies and stuff like that, and because we went to them for other things rather than going to the Most High, because the Most High will provide everything, right? Because imagine we got trees, food, all that stuff, food and stuff like that. We got animals, stuff like that. That's how the Most High providing for us, because that's real riches in reality. The only literally. And then what they've done is they've created a whole society of money, right, to keep the rich richer and the poor poor, right? And that's what they're doing, right? So because we didn't go to the Most High in want of everything, right? What's he going to do to us? What was he going to do to the children of Israel?
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and gladness of heart, right, for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst,
Right.
and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
Right? So then he said, well, because you don't want to serve me for everything, right? Serve the nations for everything. So when you're thirsty, right, you gotta go to them for drink. When you're hungry, you gotta go to them for food. When you want clothing, right, you need to go to them for clothing, right? You need to go to them for even for like materials. For them to make a business, I've got to go to them for textiles and stuff like that, right? That's what I need to go to them for. Then it says I'm in want of all things. If I got to go to go get a driving license, I've got to go to them. If I need a passport, I have to go to them. Anything.
Obviously, do stuff, but I've gone down to just talk to people from masonry, government and that. It's done the time, once the money system, that's how the slaves.
Right? So
I call it the deep state under control.
yeah. So those people, that's what I'm saying. They know exactly who the children of Israel are. Those people do. And the reason why they set up that whole society and stuff like that is to keep us from rising, right? Because if we rise up, right, it's a big problem for them because they know we're only going to speak what the Most High says, not what we believe, right? They know that, and they know that they're not meant to be in rulership. They know we are meant to be in rulership, right? We're meant to be ruling, and that's the reason why they've set it up in this way. So think about it like this one. So
I've been working at Continental Time and I've been suppressed. Just in that place, I got suppressed. I've been a supervisor or a driver, and their people got progress. Their people did come in before after me.
right,
Because we're all connected to families and friends.
right. So if you look at the days of the week, right? Did you know that they're named after gods? The days of the week and stuff like that. So in the scriptures, right, it says that the children of Israel are not meant to put other gods' names in their mouth, right? So when they're saying that, it's keeping them down as well because it's keeping us down. Because they're saying other things that we're not meant to be saying, right? And that's the reason why they did that as well, right? Just get me the scripture in there as well that says, just trying to that says that they're going to put a yoke of iron on our neck as well. So it's the same one, right? So just read that bit for me as well. Because this bit here, right, was a big sign as well for the children of Israel to know who they are as well. Right?
In one of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
Right? So you see on there, right, because this is like a also transatlantic slave trade, right? They put a yoke of iron on our neck, right? So that was a big sign, right? Because if you have a look in history, there's no time in history before where they were putting yokes of iron on people's necks, right? And that is, if you look in, I challenge you to go and have a look on the internet, or even just type in like yoke of iron, right, or iron yoke, right, and check and see anywhere where they've ever done that before, right? Because that was a big sign for us to know who the people are, right? Then get me Deuteronomy 28 and verse 16, because this one's the big one. This one's the big one, right? So this one makes it abundantly clear, right, who the people are, right? Who the people are. So you got it, yeah? Right, so read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Right, so he says he's going to bring us into Egypt again with ships, right? And that's talking about the transatlantic slave trade, right? And when it says Egypt there, right, Egypt is a Greek word, right, which means bondage, or if you want to say house of bondage as well, you can say that. But it just means that he's going to bring us into bondage again with ships, right? And there's no time in history where it's been done in that mass scale, put us on ships, put ships like sardines across the Atlantic Ocean. That's never happened in history before, right? And that's the only time it's happened. So that's a big sign, right? So read on.
With ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it again, thou shalt see it no more again.
Right, so when you're saying that, the Most High is saying that because when we came out of Egypt, right, the Israelites were at the Red Sea, right? You've heard about the story, innit? We're at the Red Sea, right? So they look back, they're scared because they can see the Egyptians coming, right, coming for them, right? So they're scared, right? And then the Most High says to them, look back, right? Right? You're not gonna see that place again. Right, you're not going to see that place again. So what he's basically showing us is that they weren't going back into the literal Egypt again. They were going into another Egypt, right, which is if you want to call it a spiritual Egypt, right, or you can just call it bondage, because that's what the word really means. So he was going to send us into bondage again with ships, right? Read on.
See it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Right. So they were going to sell us for one men and one women, right? Which is what happened, yeah? So we were sold as slaves, right? Sold as slaves, and that's why our people are scattered everywhere. The nation of Israel is scattered everywhere, right? And they don't know, because what happened is that in those times, remember, they were told not to read, can't read or write, all that stuff, right? And the reason why they did that is so that we didn't understand who we were, right? We lose our history and we lose our culture, right? And that's what that was about, right? But it says, and no man shall buy you, right? And the buy there means to redeem. So no man was going to be able to redeem us. So there's many different like leaders that have come up, rose up, right? You got your Marcus Garveys, you got your Malcolm X's, you got your Martin Luther King, right? And all them men, right? Remember, they tried both different sides of the spectrum. Even the Black Panther Party, right? The Black Panther Party was more militant. Malcolm X was more militant, and then you had Martin Luther King, who tried the peace route. But no matter what route they tried, they got killed in the end. They got killed in the end, which is showing you no matter what, right, there's no way for the children of Israel to make it out other than returning to the Most High. But the only way they're ever going to return to Him is if they know who they are. Is if they know who they are. So that's why we're here, right, to do that, right? Because we're here to fight against what you're calling the deep state, right? But we're fighting. What we're doing is we're fighting against the deep state so that we can wake up our people, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, that word, it's a no man. So by what's your name? What's your name? Benson. Yeah, Benson. So you know when he reads that, right, and it says,
That's public enemy. I was watching that yesterday. What about slavery?
right. Yeah, because Israelites are waking up to the fact that the world isn't right. That the world isn't right. The reason why they're waking up and they're starting to talk about this is because it's a slow process for us to. When you're waking up, nobody wakes up and then it's perfectly awake. It's a process. It's a process. So spiritually, when the Most High said He was going to wake us up, it would take a period of time for us to come back to our acknowledgement, come back to the listening. So that's why I just by discernment of spirit, I discern that you're an Israelite. You come from, you might be, your heritage might be from Eritrea, but we had Israelites who were in Ethiopia. But the fact that you're waking up, the fact that you are interested in what is taking place, is showing me you're spiritually waking up. And only the Israelites can spiritually wake up, because we've been in a dead state, a sleeping state for a long time.
I saw Downing Street a month ago.
Right.
There's a Christmas in the UK, you get persecuted.
Right.
Realising with what's going on.
Right. Right. And
That's not good for years.
but the thing is,
About this way.
but the thing is that although we are waking up for a purpose, a reason, right? Because when I wake up during the week, I don't wake up to sit around the house. I wake up because I need to go to work to earn a wage, to take care of my home and to feed myself, right? So likewise,
I was doing that. I'm not being successful, man.
right? But,
I hope to get back to work next month.
yeah, what I'm just using that as an analogy. I've been out of work as well. Yeah, so that's not that's not what you call specific to any individual. And everybody's been out of work. My point is, I'm dealing with the spiritual matters, right? Because when Israel starts waking up, they have a job to do. The Creator is waking them up for a reason. Okay, they have a job that they have to return to. The Bible tells us that Messiah says, repent, because the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So when you hear the word repent in religion, Christianity will say it's you saying sorry to the Creator. No, it's not you saying sorry. When it says repent, it means to return, to turn back to. Now the nations can't return back to the Creator because He never chose the nations, He chose the Israelites, right? So the reason why we are in the condition that we are in is because just like a good father, you have children, right? You don't have any children, but you had mother and father. Yeah, your mother and father would give you instructions, so your father would say, don't do this, don't do that.
Right? My mother brought us up
Right?
My father told him the law.
Right. But the point is, your mother gives you instruction, no matter whether it's your mother or father, they give you instruction to what to do and what not to do. And if you break the instructions, what they tell you, they punish you. Right. So, and just like a good father, the creator, punished us, right? Because he already knew, that the seed of Abraham wasn't going to fully understand what their role was when they first came out as a nation. He knew that, and he told Abraham that in Genesis. Right? So when it came to us getting the punishment, he left so much evidence of us so that when we wake up, we could understand, oh, now I understand why we're in the position we're in. Because he's dealing with us, not just as a nation, but he's dealing with us as a nation from generation to generation to generation to generation. And he will not deal with any other nation apart from the house of Israel. He will not, and he has not, and he never will do, because of the promise that he made to Abraham. Right? And the scripture says, the creator says, am I a man that I should lie? No, he's not a man. And the scripture also tells us that he changes not. I am God and I change not. Right? So when you see the religions, these religions were based off our writings. Right? And they took it and they made religions, not one. The religions, you have Christianity, you have you have all these religions. They are based on the writings of the Israelites, right? And take pieces from the knowledge that was given to the Israelites. Now, when it comes to signs, as Eva was saying, when you got to Deuteronomy 28, and it talks about us being brought back into Egypt again on ships. Now, that is a sign which is categorically only the Israelites. There's not with any other nation, any other people that were packed on ships and sailed across the world, all over the world, not just to the west, but to the east. The Arabs. Yeah, take a picture, right? Even the Arabs took us to the east and on ships, right? And then the Europeans came and took us and sailed us to the west, right? And shipped us all over the world, right? So that's a sign. That's a sign which is irrevocable. You can't change that, or you can't make it mean anything else other than the people were taken on the ship. And when you look into the history, it only happened to one people that happened to, right? So read the scripture where it says, and you shall be sold, and no man shall be. You get to that part. It says, no man. I know. But the reason why I'm doing this is so that you get a fuller picture. So when it says, right, read it.
And it says, thou shalt see no more again,
right?
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
And then you shall be sold unto your enemies, right? So you have the auction block, right? The auction block where the enemies, there you go. So that was another reaching us. But if you go and have a look, you'll see them on auction blocks. Wall Street. Wall Street. That's where real trade. That's how it got its name. They were trading with Israelites, right? So the point is, he says, you shall be sold unto your enemies,
and for bondmen and bondwomen,
for slave men and for slave women,
and no man shall buy you.
And no man shall buy you. So that word, no man shall buy you, is like what Eva was telling you. We had Martin Luther King and so on, Marcus Garvey, right? So what the creator was saying is that no man will redeem us, no man will buy you, because when you read our writings, when we got, back in the ancient days, right, when, say the father, son, or family member, they got poor, and then they said, okay, I'm going to work for this person, I'm going to become indentured to this person for X amount of time, right? It was a custom of ours that after a period of time, because you were indebted to that person, you served a certain period of time, and then after that period of time, your family member could come and buy you out of that condition, right? It's called kinsman redeemer, right? So when it says, and no man shall buy you, what the Creator was saying is that no man, no Israelite was going to be able to redeem us out of the situation we're going to find ourselves in. That's the reason why Malcolm X died. That's the reason why Marcus Garvey died. That's the reason why they were all killed. Because the only Israelite that's going to be able and given the power to redeem us from the situation we're in is the Messiah. And that's why Messiah came. Right? He came to redeem us to become the sacrificial lamb. Right? So that when he gave himself on the cross, right, he died for the house of Israel, he shed his blood for the house of Israel, so that in the last days, when we wake up, we can turn to him and we can be protected by him. But we have to turn to him. We have to return back to our culture, back to our heritage, accept and acknowledge our role and the Creator, and accept Messiah and the redemption of Messiah, so that when he returns, he's going to take us, the scripture says he's going to take us from all the nations, he's going to bring us back into our homeland, and this is what it's all about now, because the world is being prepared, right, for Messiah to come. It's the Father himself is setting the stage, right, because the world, the people in the world, all the nations have to get to a certain level of transgression or sin, right? Once it reaches to that level where the Father himself says, well, you have your time, enough is enough, then Messiah is going to give Messiah the green light to come to return. And when he returns, people are not going to understand. They're going to see things in the sky like they're seeing now. They're seeing these what they call UFOs. Those are what you call chariots. Okay, chariots. They come from a different dimension or from the spiritual realm, right? They can they can translate from spiritual into, or manifest from out of the spiritual into the physical, right? So that's why you can see them, and they know, and they've said now, they brought it out in the what's it called,
Pentagon.
Yeah, in the Pentagon brought out they brought out the information that there is such things called UFOs, right? And those UFOs are what we call the chariots of the Most High. Now, when the time
I've been a lot of research, and now they've got technology,
right,
yeah, to do the hologram. People can believe
right.
I've researched that, and I've researched the UFOs.
Right.
What some people say they've seen so, but then other people say it's a big psyops.
Yeah. They're going, because they're going to say that, but here's the thing.
We believe, we see and read, we can't tell if it's true unless we put it ourselves.
But here's the thing, right? If it was that UFOs didn't exist, right? Why is America building a space force? That don't make sense, because if it doesn't exist and it's all a setup, then there'd be no reason for a space army. Why are they preparing? Yeah,
things that happen there.
right, and there is a lot of things happening. But what I'm saying to you is that you can't get distracted, right, by a lot of the things which are happening. But if you're an Israelite, okay, and you understand and you love the Creator. So some people say I love the Creator, I love God. Let's find out what loving God is. Let's find out what loving God is, right? Because many people, when you ask them, as soon as you say to them, "Do you love God?" they will say, "Yes, I love God." But God tells us how you love Him. You can't decide to love Him in your mind. What you deem love is, because the Creator tells us what love is. You've got the scripture. Read it.
1 John chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments.
What is the love of God?
For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments.
And what?
And His commandments are not grievous.
And His commandments are not grievous. The love of God, that we keep His commandments. Right? Why is that scripture there? It's to tell the Israelites to love your God, your power. You gotta do what He says. That's why the word repent is in there, meaning return to His instructions. Because the word commandment has been inserted into the scripture. The word actually, where you see the commandment, right? They get that from the word Torah, right? That word Torah, right, doesn't say commandment. That's a Western concept. The word Torah means to hit the mark, or to do something straightly, on a straight path. You're not deviating to the left or to the right. It's what it's called instruction. If you say you wanted to go, say you wanted to know where Primark is right now, you work here, you live here, and you ask me, and I would say to you, well, you need to go straight into that building there, just to the left there, and then walk down a bit, and then you'll see a door on the left. It will say Primark. Now, if you turn right here, you're not going to get to Primark. If you turn left, you're not going to get to Primark. So you've got to follow the straight route of what I'm told to do, and that's exactly what Torah is. Torah is giving us the instruction on how to live here. There are rules to live here. When you're born here, every man which is born here comes and sees what is around them. No man created anything here.
That's why the government's went wrong. Keep adding laws and laws and laws and laws, and just keep getting from the Ten Commandments.
Right, and what the Ten Commandments were never for them to understand, it for Israel to give them the instruction on what the Creator can actually say.
The government's great laws, the Spanish rules, make those commandments. This one people.
Right, and that's right, because and that reason why they have to spy on people is because they know their laws breed corruption. They know that, so that's the reason. If you believe in the Most High, and I believe in the Most High, I could be at the other end of the world. I don't need to be knowing what you're doing, because I know you believe in the Most High, I believe in the Most High, and the rules that the Most High has given us to do, that's what we're doing. So no matter where you are, why would I need to know what you're doing? Because I already know what you're doing. You're following the Creator. Why would I need to spy on you?
That's what most corrupted groups, generations of corrupted people. That's what down to their families and people that really work for it.
Right. And that's where the change has got to come.
I don't know how it's going to be corrected.
You don't know how. The scripture tells us how. The scripture tells us how, because we ain't going to be able to fight against the nations. Okay? We ain't going to be able to fight against the nations. We have not got the weaponry, but the spiritual life. So something supernatural has to occur. That's why when I say about the chariots are here on what we call reconnaissance. They're having a look at how far the world's gone, what's happening on the world, right? And then reporting that back to the Father, and the Father himself, he's the same. Yeah, the time is coming, and he's preparing because he knows it's time for us to wake up. We have a home to go to. He revealed the home to us because the nations cover that place up, right? That is the tabernacle of David, right? This is the only house where the Creator has put his name, okay? The only place where he said he will show his face at, okay? Which is called Zion, right? And now, you see, when we first went up, this is how it looks. But if you go now, you can see it's getting a bit greener now, because the land started to flourish again, right? It started to flourish again, right? There was a cloud that came down over that same tabernacle there, came down at the sky, right, came down like this, and then when it reached over the tabernacle, it dipped and came inside the tabernacle. That was last year, October. Yeah, that was last year, right, because we have been going up to the house to make prayer, right, so there's a cloud, coming down, going straight inside the tabernacle. What cloud does that? So when I'm talking about the chariots now for you to understand the chariots, he's going to have to show you some sign to make you understand what's going to happen is not natural, it's going to be supernatural. So the chariots are appearing, people are seeing them all over the world, and they don't know why. But as Israelites, we know why, because we are waking up, and the time is coming swiftly to the time where Messiah is going to return. What is he coming to do? He's coming to bring war. And we've got scriptures. I need the war scriptures, because all these nations are going to be destroyed all of them, he's going to break all these nations, right? No matter how much technology they've got, the Father has allowed them to. In fact, some of them not the technology he's given them, he says have it, because he wants them to be at what they think they're strongest. But when Messiah comes back, Messiah is only going to come with 1% of the power of which is in the heavens. He's only going to come with a little bit of power, and he's going to destroy all these kingdoms, and he's going to put us back in our land, and we are going to rule the nations, and we are going to force them. Those who don't want to do it willingly, we are going to force them to serve the Creator of this earth. We are going to force them. So this is what the scriptures talk about. This is what the whole book is about, right? This part in time is just the waiting up period of the Israelites. But when we wake up, something has to happen, because he's not going to wake us up to do nothing, to still be under the nation. No, he's going to wake us up to bring the promises he gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to bring those to fruition. Because if he doesn't do that, then he becomes a liar. And the scripture says he cannot lie. It's impossible for him to lie. And he made a promise to Abraham, and to Isaac, and to Jacob, and the promises rested on the seed, the 12 sons of Jacob, which became the nation of Israel. And them promises can never be disannulled, right? So now we're waking up, right? Now we're waking up. These are the things which are going to come to pass. We are out here preaching the gospel. But the scripture where it says, and this gospel shall be preached in all the world, right? Because we are out here preaching the gospel. And not just us, all over the world, Israelites are waking up. Brazil, you got Israelites waking up. In Africa, you got Israelites waking up. In Europe, you got Israelites waking up. In America, you got Israelites waking up. In Jamaica, you got Israelites waking up, and they're all out there. Whether you go on the internet, you can see them teaching on the internet. Whether you go in London, you got like GMS, you got IACPK, you got GOCC, IUIC, you got all Israelites, and they're out on the street preaching the gospel. What's the gospel? The promises returning to the house of Israel, and us returning back to our land. So we get this scripture, what they say in this gospel.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14.
Bring out.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world,
Right.
for a witness
Unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
And then shall the end come. So the gospel is the good news to the house of Israel that our punishment is over, and that we have a redemption, and we have salvation from the hands of our enemies. Now Christianity will say we're preaching the gospel. Now Christianity has been preached the world over for how many centuries, and nothing's changed, right? So if that was the gospel, which Christianity says that they have, this would have changed, this situation would have changed. That shows you that Christianity is just a religion and just another lie, right? The gospel was only sent to the house of Israel. It was only given to Messiah when Messiah. Who did Messiah come for? Yeah, who did Messiah come for? Because Christianity will tell you Messiah came for everyone. That's not what Messiah said from his own mouth. Anybody tells you that Messiah came for everyone, they're either calling Jesus a liar, or they are a liar. It's one or the other, because who they call Jesus, right? His name is not Jesus, because there was no J in the Hebrew. But just call him Jesus, because that's what people want now, right? Now, if Jesus says one thing, and then I say something else that he never said, one of us is a liar. One of us is a liar. Let's hear what Jesus says.
Matthew chapter 15 and verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent
but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
No, came for everybody.
But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
No, he came for Pentecostals.
But he answered and said,
I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of
I
Israel.
thought he came to set up 7-day Adventists.
But he answered and said,
I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
I thought he came to set up Catholicism.
But he answered and said,
I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right, and until we start getting that understanding, you won't understand what the scriptures are about. You won't understand what the Creator has set out from the beginning. You won't understand that, because when you're following Christianity or religion, and another religion is what you call the studying of what they call Scientology, the studying of what they call it, what do they call it when you have a what do they call it? You know, when you have like It's like, they call it like a superstition. It's not like a superstition.
Yeah. Yeah, about like what's it called? It's going to be stars and astrology and all that.
Yeah, that's another religion in itself, right? But I'm saying, you know, like when they call it, you know, when they want to turn you away from something, though even though it might be true.
Or agnostic.
No, not agnostic. You know, like a theory.
Anti-peace.
No, and theory. You know when they want to turn you away from something that might be true, and they call it a theory. What is the word they put for it?
Conspiracy
theory, right? So even that is a religion in itself, where people study that conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory. But I'm saying that is a religion in itself. Why? Because your whole focus is on that and not on what the Creator is going to do. Okay? Now, do we believe in some of the conspiracy theories that are out there? Yes, we believe they're true, but that's not what our focus is on. Our focus is on what the Creator says He's going to do, what He said He will do, which has come to pass, and what He says He's going to do, which has not come to pass yet. Right? That's what we're focused on now. Right? Yeah, one last scripture, right? We've got the war scripture. We're going to do one last scripture. You know what's going to happen. The last thing that's going to happen. Messiah comes, right? Get it?
This is Joel chapter 3, and reading verse 1.
Right.
For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
And that word plead, what does it mean?
Plead, it means that he's going to bring destruction on them.
That word plead doesn't mean, oh please. It means war. War. He's going to bring all the nations down, and he's going to go to war. And the scriptures tell us that the nations are going to be at war. The World War III is coming. They're going to be in World War II. It's going to become nuclear. In the midst of that war, then Messiah is going to return. And then the scriptures tell us that all the nations are going to stop fighting one another, right? And then they're going to turn their weapons on Messiah, right? Because that's why they're preparing people now, talking about the year old, talking about threats that might come from space. It's called social programming, right? That's why they're doing that, so that when the war is in the heat of the battle, when Messiah comes back and they say, look, we've got an enemy, which is a common enemy, let's fight against them. Right? They're going to turn against Messiah and fight against Messiah, and Messiah's just going to wipe them out. Then say, right? Then we will have an opportunity to return to our land and receive the promises which is called the kingdom of heaven, which is our rulership on earth. And that which are left of the nations, we are going to beat them. But if they don't want to come willingly or serve the Creator willingly, we're going to force them to. Okay? And the scripture says we're going to break them into shivers. Right? That was coming. But listen to this, right? I believe you're an Israelite. I honestly believe you're an Israelite. And the reason why I believe that, not because I know your genealogy, I don't know your genealogy, but because your spirit is seeking truth. Your spirit is seeking.
My mum went to Jerusalem like years ago, and her great-granddad, he was part of the Catholic Orthodox. Orthodox Christian.
Right, yeah, because we were forced.
He went over there and lived in
right, and that's because we are with our spiritual people. So it's an easy thing for them to convince us about religion, because we are constantly desiring spiritual things, because we are naturally spiritual, because that's how the Creator made us, so that we can understand things. The other nations are not made that way. That's why we have to return back to our estate, right? So that we can teach the nation. I believe you're an Israelite. So what I'm saying basically is 2 weeks out of every month, we're here on Sunday, 2 weeks out of every month. What I'm saying is, get yourself, if you haven't got a Bible, get yourself a Bible, right? Start to read it. Anything that you don't if anything you read that you don't understand, you can come here. There's a number on the flyer. It's my number, right? What's your name? My name's Luke. Right? And
Jordan.
right, so you can either phone me or you can come. We're
here next Sunday. Yeah.
We're here next Sunday, and then we're not here for 2 weeks, and then we're here again 2 weeks. Right, and come and learn and understand. Yes, you're right in regard some of the conspiracy things that are going on, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is what's going to happen when Messiah returns. Where are you going to stand on that day? That's what you need to be about. Right?